Of course, we've got the odds, the current odds. It's Tuesday. It's early Tuesday afternoon. Again, the event starts on Wednesday, so that's tomorrow morning, West Coast time. So that's probably by the time this is available to viewers, you have 12 hours maybe. So it's going to be quick. As far as trends that I found out, by the way, before we get into this, because we kind of started the show with the whole trend deal, internet and we have seen that on the West Coast, especially at some of the events prior, that a lot of U.S. players have dominated. But for the most part, a lot of that is because of just history of the U.S. players being the top players here in the United States. So it's taken a while. But do note that international players have won 5 of the last 8 of Farmers Insurance Opens. But how about this? This shows you about the tough golf course. 19 of the last 27 winners have won majors. Now, Tiger's got, like, 7 of those
Right.
wins, I think, here. But still, that just shows you that you got to have a makeup. And also, 9 of the last 12 were ranked in the top 35 before winning here. So the combination of majors, top 35, this is not like last week's event at all. This is the cream usually. Now, Luke List won last year. So he broke the trend last year, winning, I think he was 151st, and had never won a PGA Tour event ever. So he broke those trends last year, so we'll see if that kind of continues. But if that just was a one-year kind of blip, then maybe we get back to like the really top guys coming back up this week.
Yeah, and just to go along with that, 3 of the last 5 winners and 5 of the last 8 have been 25-1 or shorter in the odds. And none of the last 8 winners have been higher than 80-1. So I think, this unlike last week, and I know it didn't work out last week, but unlike last week, this is not a week to be betting a ton of long shots.
No.
Focus more on the top of the card.
Yes. Okay. Jon Rahm is just way too much of a favorite at 4. He's almost a Tiger territory at 4-1 because he's won 4 of his last 7 events, I guess. He's got 7 straight top 10s with a runner-up and 4 wins. And he's dominated the golf course. All top 30s in 6 appearances. And 5 of those are 7th or better. And he's got 4 top 5s, a runner-up and a win. So that combination is why he's 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a perfect storm. He's playing as well as he can play, and this is, I think, his best golf course now. It's interesting. Rahm usually doesn't play the week after winning. He obviously is not going to skip this event because, again, it's like his favorite course on tour. But and it's we talk about short weeks in football when teams play on Thursday. It's a short week for these golfers that played on Sunday and are going to be turning around and playing on Wednesday. So I mean, those are the arguments against Jon Rahm. He could easily go out and win this thing too.
Good point.
But I'm not betting him at that number.
All right, and then you have Schauffele at 11-1. Justin Thomas and Tony Finau are at 12-1. Schauffele has been hit or miss here. And by the way, there's a lot of that here. There's a lot of hit or miss here. There's a lot of players who have had good runs and terrible runs here. So it's a very difficult very difficult to see, this guy just seems to always play well here. It doesn't happen a lot other than Jon Rahm, apparently. But Schauffele is one of those guys. I mean, he has 3 top 35s, a runner-up a couple years ago, but he has 4 missed cuts. Justin's only played here 3 times, 2 top 20s and a 10th, also missed the cut. And Tony Finau has been very solid here with 7 top 25s out of 8 appearances. So that's, again, a reason why you were thinking of taking him in your one and done. And 4 top 10s, 2 top 5s, and a runner-up.
Yeah, so Xander, this course should be perfect for Xander. He is a long, straight driver. He has a good around the green game. POA is his best putting surface. It's actually, it's a home game for Xander. He went to I think he's from around here. He went to college at San Diego State, so it's a home game. It seems like he has kind of figured out the course. He has a second and a 34th is it in his last 2 appearances at this event. And then he also came 7th at the U.S. Open here in 2021. So he seems to have kind of figured it out. I think he's an interesting bet. He's a bit too short for me. Again, Finau, I think, is a perfect fit here. He's played well here. Thomas is the one, and I think Thomas is a better player than Xander or Finau, but I don't love this course for him. He can get a little wild off the tee, and you don't really want to be playing out of the rough too often here. I don't. This isn't my favorite spot for a Thomas win. He could come out and win, but I'd rather bet him elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. There's way too many events for Justin Thomas to look at than to one and done him here. But yeah, even overall, even with our picks, I think there are other players. I see what you're saying, but it's not like he's necessarily on a good roll either.
Sure.
So, all right, Zalator. Oh, by the way, I just want to remind everybody too that our handicapping segment each week is brought to you by PlaybookSports.com. And, of course, you can also check out the Playbook Experts YouTube channel. So Mark Lawrence, of course, Hall of Fame handicapper. So he has his weekly show. He records it every Wednesday, so you can check that out. And he comes on this channel with myself every Thursday for NFL and college football. And we'll be doing college hoops real soon. Okay, so we got the two 16-1 shots who we've both picked. You have one, and I have one. And we've kind of swapped because Morikawa is on my fantasy team and Zalatoris is on yours. Both 16-1, and both have interesting trend lines. Zalatoris has an interesting trend line in this event. He's been better all three times, including second last year. So he's is at his peak, or has he got room for a win this year to really stretch out that trend and like put an end to it with an exclamation point? Now, Morikawa, meanwhile, is working on a really good trend line on the season overall. Over his last 5 events, each has been better than the other, including a 6th and a 2nd in his last 2, with the 2 coming at, unfortunately, the Century, which should have been a win. That, and remember, we said, how would he react to that? That's what we would be interested in. We also wondered with Zalatoris' injury, how does he react? So it is interesting that and by the way, Morikawa's only played here once, and that was a couple years ago. He finished 21st. It's interesting that even though we have question marks with these two players, we've both taken them as two of our better picks. Almost like, okay, well, we'll see. You know, let's gamble on whether or not Morikawa can get over that Century collapse, and we'll gamble on whether Zalatoris is truly healthy.
Yeah, I'm always going to bet on Morikawa. I think he's going to bounce back from that disaster at Century. I mean, the guy's won 2 majors. He's super young. I want to be on his side. Now, this isn't a perfect course for Morikawa. You know, he's not a long driver of the golf ball. He's 115th in driving distance.
Okay.
But he's 7th in fairways gained, so he's gonna hit fairways, and he is awesome on those long irons. 17th in this field from 200 plus, 2nd in this field from 175, 200. There's actually only 4 other players in the field that are top 20 in both of those distance buckets. So like he's the guy I want to bet on from these long iron shots. So even if he's not, bombing these drives, he's going to be in the fairway. He's going to be good on the long irons. I like that. Morikawa also first in this field in strokes gained on difficult courses, which I think this is going to play difficult this week. So I like that fit for him. And, putting usually the issue with Morikawa. POA, and, these greens are POA for the first time this, year that we've been on POA. POA is his least bad putting surface. I'm not going to say he's a good POA putter, but he's not as bad on POA as he is on Bent or Bermuda. You mentioned the 21st here in 2020. Also came 4th here at the U.S. Open in 2021. So he does have some nice course history.
And he is your top pick. And Zalatoris is my second choice. Yeah. So, and what about...
By the way, I wanted to mention, I know we talked about this offline the other week, but if you're making golf bets, get on the sports books on Monday morning, because I got Morikawa at 22-1 on Monday morning. The numbers do not improve in our favor throughout the week. They just get slashed for whatever reason. I mean, the books are kind of stingy with this stuff. So if you're serious about this, get on there Monday morning, get your bets in. That's when you're going to get the best numbers.
Yeah, because the fields come out when? Like Friday or Saturday?
Fields come out, Friday sounds right. Now the books don't post numbers until Monday morning. it's usually, from my experience, it's usually like 8 or 9 a.m. on Monday morning. They'll start to come out, and that's really when you want to get on there. Like I do all this research on Sunday night,
that's
so
the
I'm kind of
point.
ready to go on Monday morning.
Don't wait for the odds to come out to do the research.
Yep,
makes a lot of sense, and it's going to be a lot easier too once football season's over.
For sure.
So, all right. Next up, 22-1. We have Im, Homa, and Day. And just like you were saying, though, just keep in mind that all these odds, we're looking at odds from 24 hours ago, so I'm sure they're changing on multiple sports books. But Im, Homa, and Day, and these are all good options. Matter of fact, you've taken Homa, I've taken Im, and we were both thinking about Jason Day. So Im, we'll start with Im. He's trending really well at this event. He's been better all 4 appearances. He is coming in after a 6th last year here, so that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I can get a top 5 this week if I go one and done with him. Maybe that's exactly what you're thinking as well. He's been okay, but that, as far as overall, his he did miss a cut a few weeks ago, but he's been okay as far as he's like a top 20 guy. You don't know exactly when he's actually going to go out and win, but this is a pretty good week for him to possibly do it.
Yeah, he does. I'm actually looking at his stat profile. It's very similar to Morikawa, where he's not long off the tee, but he's very accurate. He's 12th in fairways gained. He's another guy that's really good on these long approaches. He's 3rd in proximity from 200 plus over the last 2 years. Sungjae's also really good around the green, which tends to be important at Torrey Pines because you do have these long approach shots. They are pretty small greens, so you're going to miss greens. You're going to have to get up and down, which Sungjae can do. So I was really between Sungjae and Homa for my last bet, and I just sided with Homa. But I think Sungjae, there's a good case to be made for him too.
Yeah, Homa is another. If you look at it, he really is again one of those hit or miss guys here. He has 2 top 20s and 6 appearances with 1 top 10. 4 of those missed cuts, but his last 3 years, he did miss a cut last year. But he was 18th and 9th before that. So he's a little bit more of a gamble in my mind than Im. I think he's definitely a bigger gamble than Im. Maybe not so of Day, because still the idea of taking Day, even in a one and done format, you're just going to be sweating bullets for 4 days. You can wake up and he could be in top 5 on Sunday and you're just going, please don't tell me. I don't want to hear anything about him. I don't want to hear it, please. Anyway, what about those final 2?
Yeah. Day's been saying the back issues are kind of behind him.
I hope so.
Nice to hear. And he is playing well. 18th at the Amex last week, gained off the tee, gained on approach, had a really nice putting week, but he will do that. He obviously has a good around the green game. So his game does fit this course, I think, pretty well. He obviously has the results to prove that. So again, I think 22-1, even 28-1 on Day, that's just too short for me to bet. But I do think this is a good spot to use him in one and done. Homa is the bet I went with. I'm with you. I think Sungjae is safer than Homa, but I think Homa has a better chance to win the event. We talked about it on the draft show, and Homa's in the mix on Sunday. I like having my money on Homa down the stretch. He played well at the Century last time out, 3rd there. Like you said, has some good showings at the Farmers, and he checks a lot of these stat boxes I'm looking for too. 25th in driving distance, 10th in those approach shots from 200 plus yards, 38th around the green, so he's pretty good around the green, and he's the 9th best putter in this field on POA. That's his best surface. So he has a well-rounded game, does everything well. And again, I like his chances to win when he's in the mix.
Yeah, Day, I'm with you. I'm like, I'm thinking, I thought Day's odds, quite frankly, were just going to be a little bit better than Justin Rose's. I figured he was about 35, 40-1.
Me too.
And then I saw 22-1. I said, what? I mean, come on. You can't do that to us. 22-1. I mean, he hasn't done anything for a couple of years. So, and by the way, he's only had, even though, like you said, he's playing well, he's got 5 top 25s in his last 6. He's got 1 top 10. Yeah. He hasn't really been competing for wins. So, but he's been so good here. 5 top 5s, runner-up, 2 wins. He's coming on. He is playing better. I don't know. And he was 3rd here last year. So,
the books are being stingy this week, I think, with these lines. There wasn't a lot that really popped out to me as being good value. I'm with you. I was hoping to to log on Monday morning and get day at like 40 to 1, I would have probably bitten at that number, but I'm not taking him at 25 or whatever he is.
Montgomery is 28 to 1. McNeely's 30 to 1. Again, Montgomery, 12 top 15s in his last 13 professional events between the PGA and KFT tours. He's yet to win a professional event, by the way. We're not even talking KFT. Europe, nothing. He hasn't won anything. But he's consistent. He's just a consistent machine, and he's trending in the right direction coming off the 5th place finish last week, even though he kind of failed down the stretch last week, which was a little disappointing. But again, 11th here last year. McNeely has played here 4 times. He's got 3 top 30s, and he's on a run of 6 straight top 30s overall, including a 7th his last time out at Sony. I was even putting McNeely into my picks category. I almost put him in there. I just couldn't fit him. I thought I had enough, but I put money on McNeely this week.
Well, he's another guy that I'd like to bet at 40 or 50 to 1, but not 30 to 1. That's just me.
Yeah. He should not be the same odds as Montgomery right now.
No, I'm with you there. I actually didn't realize that Montgomery has yet to win, though, which is, I'm not going to say I'm worried about it because he's still so young, but you like to see some experience closing out tournaments, especially he gets to 17 last week and he just totally shanks one into the water. So that's a little concerning. Montgomery's another guy. I can say it's about a lot of guys this week, just a little too short for me. 35, 40 to 1, I'd be interested. This is a good fit for him. He's super long off the tee. Good putt. He's a good POA's his best putting surface. He's a good putter anyways, and this is his best putting surface. So, I mean, if he can dial in the irons a little bit, he's probably going to be in the mix again this week.
By the way, before we make our final picks, our one and dones, do we care which course they start off with? Like, do we want them to get off to a good start, as opposed, even though we've shown the history that says you can get off to a bad start, you can still, but it's still, you got the pressure of being so far back. If you start off, do we want to feel that pressure potentially? Is that something that if we're flipping the coin on 1 or 2 players, should we look at what they're starting off with?
I think it probably matters more for some guys than others. Like, it might matter more for Montgomery, who hasn't won yet. I'm not worried about it mattering for Tony Finau or Max Homa, who have experience winning. I don't think they're going to panic if they're 6 shots back after playing the South. I don't know. Are there any? Have you seen any trends? Do winners usually start? It seems like from the numbers you were saying that winners usually start on the South course.
Oh, I mean, they must. I mean, I didn't look and find out but if they have to, I mean, based on and you were saying with Montgomery, and I think this is definitely a fact. Any player that does not have a history of winning in some way, shape, or form, you're better off being in an event like this where most guys come from behind, because you don't really want Montgomery to be in the lead.
Sure.
Because history says if you're in the lead in this event, you're not going to hold on and win. And I don't want Montgomery in the lead when he's never won before in an event that's not usually conducive to winning with the lead. So I could definitely see this as another plus if you're thinking of Montgomery in a one and done fashion, where you say, all right, I could see him coming from behind. He could be 15th going into and he doesn't feel any pressure, and he goes out and has a really good Sunday.
Yep. Agreed.
Matsuyama is 35 to 1. Thigala Davis are 40 to 1. Don't really like Thigala or Davis this week, or Matsuyama really. He's only had 3 top 20s and 9 appearances, with the 3rd in 2019.
Yeah, Hideki is the one guy where I think the number is actually fair. I mean, 35 to 1 is not bad.
Yeah. Isn't it strange that he seems to be always 35 to 1?
Yeah. And I bet him quite a bit at that number. I thought about him this week, didn't quite get to him. He has a lot of just okay finishes here. Like, he hasn't missed a cut. He's made the cut in 6 straight appearances, but only has 1 top 10 over that span. And Hideki has lost strokes off the tee in 6 straight events now. So that's a little concerning because, longer term, he's one of the better drivers of the golf ball. But he seems to be in a funk off the tee right now, and this is not a course to be spraying it. So that was kind of enough to keep me off of Hideki this week.
Hideki's a guy that he's in my final 3 or 4, my early final 3 or 4 of guys who I'm holding off for the U.S. Open. And the other guys would be Schauffele, Scheffler, and then you got to throw in maybe a Rory and so forth, and a Zalatoris. But he's in there. He's like, he may not even be a top 5. He might be a top 3 for me right now. So I'm going to kind of hold off on him a little while anyway, because if he wins another major, I think that's going to be the major he wins.
Is that because you like him at that specific golf course?
That's the only thing, the specific courses. That's obviously the trick that you can't throw into there. But I still tend to, if I see somebody who does really well on U.S. Open golf courses,
yes,
I'm not going to worry too much about, but they're playing on this one.
Yeah.
They
set all those courses up the same.
Yes.
They're all super long with super long rough.
Yes.
So it tailors to the same players every year.
Okay, now we get to some of the really long shots, and then we got Rose is one of them at 50-1. I'll just throw the ones that because not a lot of them. I mean, once we get to this point, I didn't have a lot of long shots, but Rose was one of them at 50-1. JJ Spawn was another one at 60-1. Let's start with Rose, though. He's got 6 top 25s and 12 appearances, but he's got 4 top 10s in his last 5 years. And we're talking about a guy who hasn't actually played all that well the last couple of years. He's got 2 top 5s in that span. He has a win at 2019. He was 6th last year. And remember when we talked about him ending the season pretty decently, the thing was going into last week was, all right, well, let's see how he kind of plays for the first time in a few months. Plays pretty well, finishes in the top 30. That's why I think he's a pretty solid play, especially if you're looking for long shots. I think he's easily the best long shot to gamble with.
Yeah, I hit Rose here in 2019. I think that was one of my first wins ever. It's kind of when I started.
2019.
So I have a soft spot for him. There's honestly nothing I can point to in his stats that say he's a good fit here, but you look at the results, and that's kind of like, for whatever reason, the guy plays well here. He likes the course. So I do think 50 is a fair number on Rose.
Spawn, by the way, 8 top 25s in his last 13, 4 straight top 15s, and he's coming in off a 12th. He was also 5th before that. I think that was at the Century. And he does have 4 top 35s and 6 appearances with 1 top 10, but he's missed 2 cuts over the last 4 years. But as a long shot, I think that he did catch my eye a little bit. What about this area here between 50 and 90-1? Kitayama is your top guy, right?
He is. I gotta say, I came close to betting Cam Davis again, and if he wins, it's gonna break my heart. He actually checks a ton of boxes here.
Well, just
he's obviously
just in case.
We'll see if I end up getting there. I mean, he's 7th in this field in driving distance. He pounds the ball. He's 17th in proximity from 200 plus yards. He's 8th in proximity from 175 to 200. Now he's not a good around the green player.
But he's never had a good finish here, though.
He's
sort of like the anti-Justin Rose. He doesn't. He looks maybe good on the golf course, but he doesn't finish well on the golf course.
Yeah. Now I've seen some like 66-1 still out there on Cam Davis, which is tempting me, but I haven't. He was bad. He was bad last week. He was just really bad last week. So it's tough for me to see him going from that performance to winning this tournament.
I'll give you another trend that might matter too, and because we just talked about Davis, his best finish was 32nd in 5 appearances. 9 of the last 11 first-time winners here had scored a previous top 10 here, and 6 of the last 9 first-time winners scored a top 10 the year before on this golf course winning here. So what that's telling you is historically, you want to have a little success here first before you win.
Sure.
Okay.
And he does have the Aussie thing going for him, though. We've had Jason Day, and Mark Leishman have won here. So
there you go.
Something to the Aussie thing.
Let's see. Oh, so Kitayama. So he's 90-1, right?
Yeah, and we just talked about the stats just line up too well for me not to take a chance on him at 90-1. And again, I really tried not to put too much money on long shots this week. I do think you want to stay, 50, 60-1 and lower. But yeah, Kitayama 11th in driving distance, 28th in strokes gained approach, including again top 10 in both proximity from 200 plus yards and from 175 to 200. He's also 39th in strokes gained around the green, so he has a short game too. So it seems like it should be a good fit for him. Whether or not he can actually win, we'll see. But again, he's another guy where if you're into the top 10 and top 20 type bets, I think he's a really good fit for those.
Other notable players around here, you got Keegan Bradley, a major winner. He's at 60 to 1. He has 2 top 5s in 11 appearances. Gary Woodland, a major winner, at 75 to 1, has 2 top 10s and 5 top 20s in 13 appearances. Ricky Fowler, not a major winner. How about Ricky Fowler? He has 4 top 20s in 13 appearances, but he does not have a top 20 in his last 9 appearances here with 5 missed cuts. I really would like to have somebody ask Ricky Fowler, how did you start out here your first 4 years with 4 straight top 20s, and then the next 9 years you've been a complete disaster here? I'd really like to know, how did that happen? That's just so strange, isn't it? I've never seen a card like that before.
Yeah, it is crazy. I'm looking at it right now. Now, what's funny is he putts horribly here, which, you know, he's been a good putter. POA is his worst putting surface. He's actually
is it?
He's a below average putter on POA.
Okay.
He's, well above average on Bent and Bermuda, so he's not a POA guy. I'm more surprised he did so well here early in his career, because this doesn't seem like a good course for Ricky.
Yeah, it must have been had to be a change in something he did with his game, and then it just completely screwed up his ability to play on this golf course. Anyway, Buckley, who almost won a couple of weeks ago, he's around 90 to 1. By the way, Burmester playing it for the first time. We haven't talked much about Burmester, but he's actually been playing pretty well. One of these weeks, we'll probably have him in our long shot category.
Yeah, the stats line up pretty well for him. He's long off the tee. He's good around the green. Same goes for Buckley too. He's a long shot I did look at, because he's another guy who, 6th in this field off the tee. He's decent on the long approach shots. I think the reason I did not bet Buckley is because he's a disaster around the greens. He's 141st in this field around the green. So if he misses these greens, it could be trouble.
Scott Stallings won here in 2014. He was runner-up in 2015. He's never had a top 10 in any other year. He's made 12 of his last 13 cuts coming into this event, with a runner-up at the BMW Championship last year. Davis Thompson is 100 to 1. So we'll see how he comes back after last week. Is that a blip? Is it hey, I had my shot, you won't see me again for a couple of years? Or is this the beginning of Davis Thompson's really? Because he went from, he's already now that second place finish moved him into like the top 70 in the world ranking. Now we get to Ryan Palmer. Now here's an interesting long shot that you have on your list, and I understand why. Horse for the course, 5 top 25s in his last 5 years, including runner-ups in 21 and 18. Before that, he has 9 appearances, but he had 4 appearances before that were no good. So he's completely opposite of Fowler. And 16th last year here. But the problem is he's got no top 10 since the last 13. But that did not affect my pick for Chris Kirk at the Sony, which was the same reason I took him, and he almost won, which is, again, I'm assuming why, hey, any player that has a horse for the course kind of deal going for him, don't worry about how they're playing. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, especially when he's 130 to 1. I think he's even 150 to 1 at some other books.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the guy can actually win. Like, Palmer hasn't won an event since 2010.
It is crazy.
He had 1 top 10 all last year. But he is a good long iron player. He's actually 3rd in this field on those approach shots from 200 plus yards. So that at least explains why he does so well at this course. So again, not something I'm in love with, but I'll take a shot at 130 to 1. A guy who has a couple second place finishes here over his last 5.
Because that's as close as he's gotten. You said he hasn't won in a while. Robbie Shelton is my top long shot at 130 to 1. He's played here twice. 16th a couple years ago, the last time he played here. 6th last week. He was 10th not too long ago in one of his recent events to end last year at the RSM in November. And he did have a win in the KFT Tour in August. So overall, the last 6 months have been pretty good for Robbie Shelton. Is this a player, one of those kind of players that we should be keeping an eye on?
It wasn't on my radar until you mentioned him, but just pulling him up now, the irons were awesome last week, which you like to see. He's a good around the green player consistently, so you like that at Torrey Pines. And then Poa is his best putting surface. He's actually a below average putter on Bent and Bermuda. He's above average on Poa. So seems like a pretty good fit for a guy who is playing well right now.
Detry is playing in for the first time. We've talked about him. Patrick Rogers. I'd sure like to see Patrick Rogers play, get his game going at some point.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And Schmid, another one of Jan's pre-rookie picks. First time playing here, 6th last week. Missed a cut at Sony, 4th in South Africa. So that's a pretty good run for Matty Schmid. He's about 250 to 300 to 1. So he's one of these players that, if they show a little bit of consistency, should get on our radar for long shot picks real soon.
Yeah, I was impressed by what I saw of him last week, especially on Sunday. He was on the coverage quite a bit. Ended up gaining across the board at the Amex, off the tee, approach, around the green, and putting. So definitely someone to keep an eye on. I didn't get to him this week. It's a big ask for him to win here, in his first time at Torrey.
Yeah,
but
especially in this event. Last week would have been the kind of event to take him.
Yes.
And then I did want to. I know we had a comment from one of our viewers, and we want to remind everybody that, if you have anything at all, any questions, comments regarding any of the events, anything at all, it could come out of complete blue, could be something we're not even talking about. Just let us know what's on your mind. I'm trying to find out where I had it, but you did get the comment last week, and that was regarding Aaron Baddeley, correct?
Yeah. And I we had a commenter, say Baddeley. I think he made a swing change or something and had kind of been rounding into form. Now he came 50th last week at the Amex. You look at the numbers; they weren't great. The Amex also, only 2 of those rounds are measured by shot link. They don't even have shot link on the La course and the Nicholas course, so it's only like half of the stats. But there's definitely some positives I'm seeing to Baddeley's game. He had the 7th place finish at the Sony, he had the 6th place finish in Bermuda in October. So definitely someone to keep in mind. Is he in the field? He is in the field this week.
Yes, he is. He's like 300 to 1.
Yeah, he's a shorter hitter, so this doesn't seem like the spot. I would save him maybe, for some of these. I mean, we got Pebble next week. I don't know if he's in the field there, but he could be he's a much better fit there than he is here.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. It might have been in could have been in one of our fantasy shows then where I got it. I'll give it one more. Here's the last one. Yeah, I don't know where it is. I don't know where the hell it went. Anyway, sorry I can't call out your name, because I think all I did anyway was just reference it, and I don't remember if I had a name or anything in there of who exactly it was, but you know who you are. And just keep letting us know what's on your mind regarding these types of questions and so forth. And we will definitely, because not only did you reply, but I don't know if Jan replied or not. Because Jan, she wasn't even sure she had a YouTube account. And she found out she did, because I told her it's better that, if you want, it's better for you to do them directly. So I have no idea. I don't think she did, but I have no idea, because I can't, for some reason, like I said, I can't find out where the heck it was or where it was coming from. But anyway, let us know, and we will definitely give you our input on one and dones too. Let us know if you're in a one and done contest, and if you have any. Because even though I will say this, if anybody has a one and done question, like, hey, would you go to this guy or this guy? There's no way I'm answering that question. and I wouldn't even expect Jared or Jen to answer that question. We'll give you some positives and negatives, and then it's all up to you. You make that decision.
Exactly.
I ain't making it. Because you know what would happen if we made the wrong pick.
Hey, we should talk about our golf league real quick, because I'm off to a hot start.
In your golf league?
Our golf league, the one we did the draft for.
Oh, the fantasy league.
Me, you, and Jan. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's also because all your players are playing right now. So stop. Don't get too ahead of yourself.
Taylor Montgomery's on my team.
Yeah. Let's see the golf standings. Yeah, you're at 330 points with a win because you got Rom.
Yep.
Jan's at 130, and I have 100. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 guys that still haven't played yet. So
it's early. It's early. I
and
just
our
wanted to
Live
bring
Tour
it up
players
today.
haven't played yet. But yeah, you're coming off a Montgomery 5th, a Rahm 1st, and a Burns 11th in the same week. So that's the reason that and then the win is over. This is pretty much as low as a point total as we get on as far as our points system. I think it was still 250 or something, or 200 points, something like that, for John Rahm's win. And you still have now. Homa will play for the first time this week, but Lowry and Fitzpatrick, by the way, are playing over in the Dubai Desert Classic this week.
Yep.
McIlroy's playing, Hatton's playing, Fleetwood's playing. So we got a bunch of guys that are playing over there. And by the way, McIlroy he's 3-1 there. So how about a parlay of McIlroy and Rahm?
What's that going to pay? Like 20-1?
I don't know.
Something
Maybe better. But hey, it's better than just taking one of them, I guess.
It's the same as betting Homa to win this.
Yeah, it's true. But McIlroy's got 9 straight top 10s at the Dubai Desert Classic, with 5 top 5s, a runner-up, and 2 wins. Hatton is 12-1, and Fleetwood is 16-1. Minwoo Lee had a great chance to win last week because he's been doing really well, and I had money on him, and he screwed up and lost. He choked down the stretch, and what's his name? Perez hit a par 3 bunker shot on 17 that went from potentially going down a stroke to gaining a stroke. That just completely changed everything late. McIntyre is an interesting player. He's got 2 top 10s and 3 appearances. We could see him on the PGA Tour full time real soon.
Yeah, I know he always shows up in most of the majors. I love my lefties, so I like Robert McIntyre.
He just has to be a little bit more consistent. That's the
problem. Yeah, he's young.
Yeah, he is. But so we still have some of these guys that are over there, but it's early. Look, Victor Hovland hasn't played yet. For Jan, McIlroy's over there, and for me, we don't even know what's up with Berger. I have Berger, and I have no idea. There's no word on whether he's got some events coming up that he's good at.
Pebble.
He's good at Honda, I think.
Pebble. Yep.
So
he's a good Florida swing guy. I have not still heard anything about Berger.
Yeah, everybody just kind of feels like, oh yeah, he should be playing in a week or two, but yeah, nobody knows. So
nope.
We'll see how that goes. Anyway, Jared, what do we got next week?
Pebble,
and then Phoenix, the Super Bowl Phoenix event, and it's that's interesting that the Phoenix event, the Farmers Insurance plays Wednesday to Saturday because they don't want to interrupt Championship Sunday, but the Phoenix event just doesn't care. They're like, that's okay. And it's probably because of their crazy Saturday kind of deal they got going on there, which is just insane.
Yeah. Plus the idea is that the Waste Management ends right before the Super Bowl kicks off, whereas, we have the NFC Championship game on Sunday kicking off at like 3 p.m., so that would definitely overlap. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I will have to be honest with you, though. Pebble, even though it's a beautiful golf course to watch on television, it is not one of my favorite events. And
it's another Pro-Am. So you got all the...
And unlike the Amex Pro-Am, the Pebble Pro-Am for the first 2 days, you get about 50% Pro-Am. They just constantly show people I don't care to watch. I don't even know who these amateurs are. I don't care. They're not, at least in the old days, Clint Eastwood was out there. You had all these like really interesting, even football players 5 years ago. Now it's like the only person out there is Bill Murray.
Is Romo going to play again?
I
don't mind watching him.
He's on the air.
He's legit. He won't be on the air next week, right? The week off for football. So he could play.
He could play. You're right. Maybe
he played. He played a couple of years ago. Remember, he hit that shot off the carpet in one of the VIP tents.
No, I didn't remember that one.
That was good.
So, I don't like to watch. That's it. I've gotten so frustrated over the last few years. It's just wall to wall Thursday and Friday. The first 2 rounds is just unwatchable. And unlike the Amex, like they were doing a great job of coverage. They were going, all right, we're going to Pete Dye. All right, we're going to go here. All right, we're going to go to that course. And they just kept swapping guys and courses. But at Pebble, They don't do that. They just stick to the main course, and then they'll go, all right, let's take a look at what happened. We'll do some highlights from the other golf course. So you've got two completely rounds of golf course action that they don't even care. They don't even show you. So if you're not even on that day's main course, you're not going to get any television action for your player. So throw in the fact that they're going to throw hammers half the time as well.
I will say I think the PGA Tour is improving their TV coverage in general, and more specifically, I think they're starting to realize that guys like us who are betting on this stuff or playing one and dones or maybe playing DraftKings, they're the people that are most invested in. They're the ones watching on a Friday afternoon that want to see more golf shots and don't want to see these celebrities and don't want to see all this other stuff. So
I think
they're getting better at least.
That's next week. This week, though, tomorrow, golf tomorrow. I can't believe we're saying golf tomorrow. But golf tomorrow, so get your picks in. And again, one and done. It's M, Rose, or Montgomery for me. And it's probably going to, now M is not, I'm going to save M. So it's going to be Rose or Montgomery for me. And who are you down to?
I'll probably save M too. So for me, it's Finau, Homa, and Jason Day.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Yeah. I got to cut one still.
Yeah. And Jan also has 2 out of 4. She gave me her 4, by the way.
Oh, did she?
Which ones? Where did she give? Did she give it to me on? Where did she?
I didn't see it.
Did she give me on email or did she send me? Let's see if she gave me an email. Because she might have texted me. I'll have to check. Let me see here. She texted me. Let's see. Jan, here it is. She texted me. Her final choices are Day, Finau, Homa, and Montgomery.
Okay. Yeah, so we're all in the same group of guys.
Yeah, so that's good. So we can't just all take the same player, though.
All right. That probably means those guys are going to be pretty popular picks, though.
Yeah. You're going to have to as soon as we stop this show recording, you're going to have to show me how to check the players out because I need to find out how to monitor that correctly. All right, so that'll do it. Please subscribe to the show, and if you like what you see, well, like it, and also share it with your friends any way, shape, or form. And we'll see you again next week, and we'll have a little bit more time, of course, as they get back to Thursday tee times at Pebble Beach. And best of luck out there, everybody. We'll see you next week.